What was the substance that broke the barriers of weaponry that we still use today? It all started in China, where gunpowder was first created in the mid 9th century, experimenting with chemicals of 75% sulfur, 10% sulfur, and 15% charcoal. Originally, Chinese alchemists were looking for the elixir of life for their emperor when they mixed the following chemicals and found that the combination was extremely flammable and created multiple uses with it. The Chinese found that this substance would also explode when lit, and they took advantage of its properties. The invention of gunpowder broke barriers physically, changed weaponry, and military innovation. In ancient times, it was known as that weapons were considered to be swords, knives, and tools. However, as gunpowder came to be known, new ideas on how to use this spread. Soon, military forces began to use the gunpowder and adapted it to its power by expanding the war's distance instead of rushing into battle on horseback with sword in hand. In battle, victories would differ on what religion, culture, or simply to gain more land. Others would just be at an advantage with this newfound technology.
Before the 13th century, the Chinese were the only ones who understood and perfected the gunpowder formula. But due to trading, their secret was shared with many cultures on the Silk Road. Because it was an effective form of weaponry, it was immediately used by the Europeans in the Islamic world. During the Ming Dynasty, cannons were put onto a ship and were traded with the Japanese and the Koreans, which caused the spread of gunpowder in other Asian countries. Soon enough, there were different forms of cannons, guns, and bombs. In 1453, the Battle of Constantinople was the first time gunpowder was used successfully. The outcome of this battle changed the religious state of Turkey, no longer Christian, but converted to Islamic. With this, gunpowder was introduced to the world and was transferred into many weapons, such as cannons, bombs, and rockets, that would then be used in battle.
After gunpowder was invented, it was quickly put to use by the Sung dynasty in China, where there were continuous recurring battles with Mongolians. The first weapon that was used was the fire arrow. The fire arrow is one of the first and simplest gunpowder weapons. It was just an arrow with a tube of gunpowder, and that, when ignited, it would propel itself faster and catch whatever it hit on fire. The first forms of a cannon in China were hollowed out bamboo sticks filled with gunpowder, which they called the fire lance. For the first relations to the cannons, to have an accurate shot, they had to be pretty close to the target. During the Northern Song dynasty, the Chinese started putting small objects like rocks, pottery, and metal in the fire lance, which would explode out into their enemies. This was the very first start of modern-day guns. Other weapons around that time were gunpowder-filled pottery or metal that was catapulted onto the battlefield. Some had holes in its sides so that when it was lit and thrown, it would spray out with sparks and fire looking like a firework. These were the first forms of bombs that were created by the Chinese, which changed the whole world of weaponry, stopping hand-to-hand combat and causing more effective strategy on the battle and warfare, which were longer.
How did gunpowder break barriers? When it comes to gunpowder, is the fact that it changed battles completely. Gunpowder broke barriers because it was used as a physical aspect and was revolutionary for all weapons. Gunpowder could be used as entertainment in the form of fireworks, a weapon in the form of cannons, lances, guns, and bombs. The chemical that makes fireworks explode is potassium nitrate. Fireworks were widely used in China thanks to the invention of gunpowder. This broke barriers because without gunpowder, life would be different today because, with the use of fireworks, it transferred to multiple cultures where we still use gunpowder in the form of fireworks and weapons today. Another way the invention of gunpowder broke barriers is that it actually broke barriers, such as walls and barricades. To do this, the Chinese invented the cannon. The cannon changed warfare today because it was an effective battle weapon able to take out cavalry and barriers that benefited the other side. With the use of the cannon and only the Chinese using it during this time, the Chinese had a monumental advantage compared to other forces. After the standard cannon proved to be successful, the Chinese developed the rapid-fire cannon, which was a stronger, more useful cannon that took out more enemies.
Gunpowder was not only used for weapons, it was also incorporated into the Chinese culture with celebrations to honor their gods and to keep away evil spirits. Gunpowder is the key ingredient that launched fireworks into the sky. What they originally thought that would cause them to live forever was actually a formula that is still used today to celebrate in multiple other countries outside of Asia.
From bombs, guns, and cannons, gunpowder really left its mark on the world in some pretty terrible ways, and in contrast to beautiful marks it can leave in the air. Gunpowder's effect on culture broke barriers by the deciding factor of who had the advantage in the wars and battles, and by those victories, religions changed. Culture also took part in ways of celebration. For example, fireworks, which is used for national celebrations. Today, gunpowder has changed lives by shaping our economy as we know it because the uses of gunpowder continue to evolve and change. In conclusion, the invention of gunpowder broke barriers by evolutionizing weapons, the way cultures interacted, and how we use gunpowder in the 21st century.